Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you could purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing a watch that took the 2005 Breguet 7027 La Tradition to the next level. This model, launched in 2010, is the 7047BB. 7047BB is everything you loved about the original, but in a 40mm rather than 38mm package. Tradition truly redefined the expectations for the modern Breguet brand. No longer a historic purveyor of aviators, chronographs, or pocket watches, as in the lifetime of the master himself, the new company channels the best of Breguet's architecture and spirit into wrist watches that wear modern but look nostalgic. So on my wrist, 16 centimeters circumference, this is an easy one to wear. At 40mm, it's a perfect size for a modern men's dress watch. Lug-to-lug, 49.6mm. It's an easy one to wear if your wrist is 14 centimeters circumference or larger. Any smaller, I'd go with the 7027. And 11.6 easily fitting underneath a cuff with a 21mm spacing between the lugs. Tradition truly redefined the Breguet brand as it gave the company something approaching a modern day icon and a base off which to build new sizes and complications. With a 21mm spacing between the lugs, this watch has a modern footprint, and you can see the strap is proportional. The strap is also held on by screw-fixed bars that are more secure than spring bars, a bit more expensive to make, but you expect that level of attention to detail and spec on a Breguet watch. Large rectangular scale alligator leather, you can see black with a semi-gloss finish, a monotone stitch, and a folded edge. It's calfskin on the underside, and you can see that this is a Breguet factory strap in outstanding condition. There is a lovely design coordinated white gold pin buckle, and you can see there's even a little revetment in the buckle for the pin. Attention to detail that I adore. The flanks are cold rolled to create this coining pattern and then hand finished, and you can see that there is a set of welded lugs with evidence of the welding removed for double finish. So you have the coin flank and then you have the black polished sides of the lugs themselves with a little bit of a teardrop profile at the end. Two lips, you can see one overlapping the mid case from the case back and one overlapping from the bezel structure, which is domed in profile. A Breguet B logo crown with a wonderful winding action. This watch is actually a pleasure to wind. That's important with a manual wind watch. And then you get to the dial side and you realize that the caliber 507 DR1 is pretty much one and the same as the dial of the watch, which is to say you have a power reserve indicator with black polished scale, 50 hours, manual wind. You have a dial that is actually a piece of solid gold that has been cut on a rose lathe for guilloche main, or hand guilloche, the old-fashioned way, and then galvanized black, but it is a solid gold dial. And then in the form and fashion of Breguet's pocket watches, you have a separate cock or half bridge for the train wheels that lead from a centralized barrel. Note that the focal point of the dial is the barrel at center. And then you have your great wheel, because it's not a center wheel, it's off center. Great wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel, escape wheel, and then your balance. And the balance features a Breguet-inspired parachute shock protection system rather than Etishock or Inca Block. This is a specific shock protection system used only by Swatch's Breguet brand. You can see there are variable mass, they're not poising, but they are variable mass inertia controls inboard of an aerodynamic balance rim. So these are actually moved inward and outward to change the polar moment of the balance. So all the adjustment is done using these mobile masses, and you can see they are in gold and they are recessed into the rim for aerodynamic purposes. They actually reduce the parasitic loss by aerodynamic drag. You'll also note that the watch with this free-sprung balance features stop seconds. So you can stop the seconds and set the watch precisely, very precisely, in spite of the fact that there is no seconds display on this watch. It's wonderful just to be able to appreciate the machinery at a stop. There is an overcoil hairspring that is silicon. So how is that achieved? Because silicon in 3D has only been achieved by a few specialist companies, and Swatch Group is not one of them. Well, it's actually a two-part hairspring. It's silicon and thus has a low thermal coefficient, so it's resistant to high or low temperatures and deviation resultant, but it also has an overcoil architecture that allows the watch to beat concentrically in any orientation with respect to gravity, and it is adjusted in 6 positions, one more than the chronometer standard. There are actually 2 pieces to this hairspring, and they are physically linked at the dogleg kink that leads into the overcoil. So that is the technology Breguet developed in the mid-2000s to create a silicon overcoil hairspring. Now you can see there is beautiful finishing. There's a frosting on all of the bridges and plates, but there's mirrored anglage, and you can start to see a gleam on the edge of these bridges as well as in the jewel and screw sinks. The screw heads themselves are all black polished with chamfered slots and circumference, and if you turn the watch over, you can see there is a second power reserve indicator that also shows you the mechanism of the power reserve. So you have one on the dial side and one on the case back, and then you have freehand engraving on the movement plate itself. The watch is handsomely executed, and you can really see to better effect that gleaming anglage on the reverse side of the case. It's not as evident on the front, although it is omnipresent on every edge of this watch. Handsome in its execution, 34 jewels, 2 power reserves, free sprung and beaten away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It is a technical tour de force, even as it is profoundly beautiful. See it and make it yours on the watch box.